Did you know that 60 to 70% of our actual income as being gig workers comes from tips alone? Because if you are a brand new gig worker in 2023, you're going to want to stick around, because I went to my community post to gain some more answers from experienced gig workers that have either finished doing gig work, currently doing gig work, or far in between, to get you the best style restaurants to choose from so you can gain more tips. Now, of course, number 10 in the mix has to go to fast food restaurants. I know they're quick sometimes, and I know you get there and the order's there, but there's also the times you get there and you're waiting 20 minutes. But what's the maximum tip I've ever received from, example, McDonald's? It's $9. Regardless if it's McDonald's, regardless if it's Subway's, Tim Hortons, Burger King, the highest I've gotten is a $9 tip. Now, as a gig worker, you're going to find out you can make a lot more than just a $9 tip. And that's why we're going to go into number 9. Now, number 9 for me might be number 1 for some. Number 9 for me actually goes to pizza. And somebody, Jay, the nickname, he said that pizza was one of his highest. Unfortunately with me, pizza has been a hit and miss. I have gotten pizza orders where I've gotten, for example, a $19 cash tip on a $129 order. But I've also had a $200 order where it's a $5 tip. Now, the difference on pizza orders is pretty much not just the amount of pizzas, but it's the drop-off. When I got that $5 tip for the $200 pizza order for 6 extra large pizzas, I was dropping it off at a skating rink for a kids' community party. Now, I don't blame the parents for only tipping $5, because that's a lot of money to forfeit out on pizza for multiple people, but pizza can also bring you in major money. For my brother, for example, his highest tip was $29 off a pizza order. So pizza is a hit or miss. I do appreciate a good pizza order, but for me, it's ranking number 9. Now, number 8 came in for my lovely hospital food, and they had to say Italian food is their choice in the mix when it comes to being one of the best restaurants for food deliveries. And I actually have to admit, it's not too bad. The difference here is that the Italian restaurant that I normally go to, it's a crisscross because it's an Italian pizzeria. So it's kind of ranking between both Italian and pizza. Now, it's a very expensive restaurant, so because of that, I do tend to get good tips in the mix. But unless Italian food is something that's hot in your market, it might be harder to gravitate that as an option. For me, there's only one restaurant. For you, there could be 10. So you get to determine if Italian food is, but with Italian food for me, just last night, I banked a $16 tip. Number 7 goes to a personal favorite of mine, and that's because I like a little spicy caliente in my life. It goes to Mexican food. So Three Amigos is a hot amenity here in Montreal, Quebec, and there's a few other Mexican restaurants. Mexican food is so big here to the point that I get a lot of non-tippers in the mix. But when it comes down to it, because they're so popular, I will get a triple stack order on Uber Eats for 3 Mexican orders like I did last night, and each one had gave me a really good dedicated tip. It was a triple stack order, 21 minutes, 9 kilometers, and it was for $34. So I could not complain about that offer, and I accepted it. And for doing that for 21 minutes, it's like, hell yes. But it's a give and take for some. But in my ranking, definitely Mexican food is making it to the list. Number 6 is going to be a crisscross between Lebanese and Greek food. The advantage of Lebanese and Greek food is it's often bought in bulk. Now, I did a Lebanese order just about 1 week or 2 weeks ago. It was a $129 order, and I got an $18 tip in the mix. So as you can see, now that we're scaling back a little bit, fast food's not making its way to the list as much as something like Lebanese food or even Greek food. Not only do the potatoes smell good, but your clients will tip for it. Why? A lot of those are big actual orders. It's not that I'm ordering a lot, but the plate I order is rather large, making it more expensive. Now, not everybody's going to do a percentage-based tip, but if they do one on Lebanese or Greek food, you can expect to make a good amount of money. Now, number 5 and number 4 are going to be set together. I like some good Vietnamese food, and I like some good Indian food. Not only do I adore a lovely Indian accent, but combine Indian food and Vietnamese food in Montreal, Quebec, and it makes for a staple of fantastic tips. Vietnamese food, I have a lot more restaurants here. Indian food, I am a little bit more limited. but I'm gonna put Indian food before Vietnamese. So Vietnamese is going as number 5 and Indian food is going as number 4. And the reason for that is because with the Indian food, I have a restaurant that is always in my market that has provided me nonstop beneficial tips. They package good. First of all, the restaurant itself is always sweet to me. It's called Deli Kebab, and everybody seems to like it. For Vietnamese food, I have a lot of different drop-off locations that I go to, different restaurants. It does pay well, but I found that more tips come from Indian food. I don't know if it's something more culture-based. I don't know if it's just a preference on the food market, but number 5 goes to Vietnamese, and number 4 goes to Indian. Now, number 3 is not one that I think that anybody's going to be surprised from. And this one actually got recommended from SideJob.ca, Chinese food. I know when I order Chinese food, I'm looking at about $100 per order, and it's a lot like that for many of the customers. Even occasionally, I'll just get something like a chicken fried rice for a customer, but they still end up tipping good. They do tip because the portion is normally good. Chinese food is packed a certain way, so it's delicately handled, and a lot of people like to tip good for it. Now, we have the last 2 in the mix, which is also Korean food. I have to agree with Anthony Terry, who mentioned Korean food. You can get nice, big, bulky orders that people just love and adore, and they tip good. But number 1, my number 1 staple, my number 1 that has gotten me a $30 tip once, and then another time, $20 cash tip and a $20 tip in the app, goes to sushi orders. Now, I know there's seafood in the mix too, and I can say you can tie it into sushi because sometimes I get mussels and such like that, but I don't get too many things like lobster, calamari, or anything else like that in the mix. But sushi is a fantastic one for tips. There's a lot of them nowadays, and the highest one I got was 100-piece order sushi, just straight out of the box. I've gotten a triple stack order with one with 30 pieces, one with 32 pieces, and one with the equivalent of 40 pieces. And that was supposed to be a $28 triple stack order that turned into $44 because of tips. Now, if you play your cards right and you pick the right orders for sushi orders, you can make tremendous amount of money. I do find, and this might be different in your market, sushi orders do go more percentage-based tips. I have been once tip baited from a sushi shop, and it was also the same sushi shop that I got my highest tip. So I'll say for one tip bait versus tremendous amount of times I've gotten there and gotten my highest amount of tips, I'm not going to complain. Now, if you have a restaurant style that is not related to these 10, comment below and let me know which one has benefited you the most, because as experienced gig workers, we need to help out the new guys figure out which one works best. Because I know I didn't list them all, I just listed the top 10, and I went based on my subscribers or my viewers and mixed it up with based on my market. So I hope this helps you figure out which restaurant works best for you in 2023, and I'll catch you lovelies in the next video.